So this is a video I've been wanting to do for a while. An idea that I had if they wanted to pursue a Superman film with Brandon Routh. And one of the ideas I had with Brandon Routh on Superman, what if they set the film in the 1930s in the same style and fashion, or rather, homage as the Max Fleischer cartoon series, I think, which was set in the 1940s. The Max Fleischer cartoon Superman series was and is still iconic. It's still one of the best Superman series. I mean, it's so. I used to watch that when I was a kid. I had not that was more 1930s, but I had the VHS tape or whatever, and I used to watch it. I was like, wow, this is like, even to this day, the animation is absolutely stunning. It's incredible. And I was thinking, like, yo, since DC is doing these Elseworld stories with Joker, which was a massive success, why not do a Superman Elseworld story with Brandon Routh in the same vein as the Max Fleischer cartoon? Brandon Routh can keep the same outfit he did in Crisis, with the black emblem and the underwear, and you can get away with a lot of stuff if you set the movie in the 1930s, right? Ideas like current comic tropes in the Superman comics that you can't get away with today, right? Like with the whole glasses and Lois Lane can't figure out who Superman is. Well, if you set the movie like right now in modern times, like Man of Steel, you can't get away with that. But if you set it in the 1930s with the same, whimsical fluff that the comics had it in the past decade, in the past era, and in the 1930s, you can get away with it. You can get away with the glasses on it, and Lois Lane can't tell. Like you can get away with that. You can get away with the Great Caesar's ghost. With Perry White saying that corny shit, right? And you can get away with Superman wearing the red undies because it's not stupid. Like, it would fit in that era. Like, it wouldn't fit today, but it would definitely fit in the 1930s and the 1940s. Like, you can get away with a lot of comic tropes if you set the film in the 1930s, then you can get away than what you can get away with now. And you can have that same fun, whimsical, silly tropes that the 1978 version had with Christopher Reeve, but just set it in the 1930s, and you can really do some beautiful Art Deco, sort of beautiful models, like the city skyline and the Daily Planet. You can get away with make the city, just like set in 1930s with the cars and the buildings and the skylines, and I think it would be really fun, and I think it would, really be a nice. I think it would fit Brandon Routh's style of Superman, because Brandon Routh's playing Superman is is the classic Superman, right, from the 1930s. That the stiff, evening, ma'am, evening, ladies and gentlemen. He's like, stuff like that. Like that really old school Superman. The boy with the golden heart from the farm from Kansas, right? And I think it suits Brandon Routh's. Like, it really plays to Brandon Routh's strengths as the character of Superman. Just that old school, no nonsense, Superman, but also with the heart of gold. And I think it would be really fun. And it would be like a nice throwback, sort of like, the Rocketeer, which was set in 1940s, right? And The Phantom, same thing. The Phantom with Billy Zane, one of my favorite movies, also set in the 1930s. And it just has that old school family fun escapism that we haven't seen done from Superman in a while. We've seen it recently in Crisis on Infinite Earths with Brandon Reeves, which is why this is the perfect vehicle for him if Warner Brothers decides to go down that route. And why not? Why not? You're not doing a Superman film with Henry Cavill, not anytime soon. The fans love Brandon Routh as Superman. We want another Superman film, whether it's connected to the DCEU or not. You're doing original standalone stories with Joker, so why not just do it with Brandon Routh? Why not like make, you know, like Superman Returns? Like it wasn't like this box office flop. It had a critical acclaim, and it made money. It wasn't like $1 billion film, but it wasn't but it wasn't gonna be $1 billion film. And I think with the recent resurgence of Brandon Routh's Superman, like why not show love to that character, and it would be like a huge deal to bring Brandon Routh back as Superman, like back on the big screen again. And this time, like you won't have to deal with the whole Superman is too dark. This film is too dark. We don't like this. No, it'll be a win-win because most critics and most people love Brandon Routh as Superman, and since the film is gonna be set in the 1930s, it'll have that fun, whimsical Max Fleischer, Indiana Jones type feel to it. It'll feel like old. It'll feel new and old at the same time because it'll be new for the younger generation being introduced to Superman, and it'll feel old to the older generation who grew up with the Christopher Reeves and who were fond of the Max Fleischer cartoons. So it's like a win-win either way, and it doesn't have to be like this big $300 million budget. I mean, you could do a Superman film for like 90 million. I mean, because I'm not expecting like this big action feel to it. I mean, you can have action sequences to it, but you can just make it fun. You can make it'll be like Shazam, right? It'll be have like similar tone to Shazam, but with Superman. And you can have like, and it'll be like the old school Max Fleischer. It'll be beautiful. Just get like a great director, a beautiful, a great cinematographer, and it'll have that feel to it. It'll be visually stunning, and it'll be fun. It'll be like it will, it will appeal to a mass generation. Like the adults will love it, kids will love it, and the grandparents who grew up on the Max Fleischer cartoons, they would go see it because it will please everyone. Like it'll check all the boxes of fun, heartwarming, and just and old school action. And I think it will be fun, and I think it would be great if they decide to do that, if they want to go down that route. Again, like I said, it doesn't have to be in a DCU. It doesn't have to connect to anything. It'll just be a standalone love letter to Max Fleischer and the old school comics, right? And I think that would be I think it will be a good idea. It doesn't need to have a big budget. You could do it for 90 million, because I'm not expecting like a big, action adventure like Batman vs Superman or Justice League type shit. And I think maybe that would be like one hesitation from the studios. Like, look, it doesn't have a lot of action, and that was like one of the biggest complaints of Superman Returns, that it didn't have a lot of action, which is why we got Man of Steel. But you can have you can have action sequences in it. It won't be like just boring, Superman not punching anything. But it'll have action in it, obviously. And a perfect director for this type of film I have in mind is like Brad Bird. I think Brad Bird, if you look at The Incredibles and Tomorrowland, I think it will be a perfect fit for this movie. I know a lot of people, well, J.J. Abrams would be pretty good, but I think he would be better for like a modern take on Superman. If you're doing like an old throwback, sort of like like Tomorrowland or The Incredibles, or even Captain America: The First Avenger. Captain America: The First Avenger was basically just like The Rocketeer. It was like a Max Fleischer cartoon, just not as good, but it was in that similar vein, in a similar fashion, to like old school movies and old school serials. And what a perfect blend that would be for Brad Bird and this old school serial type Superman film, just done in the 1940s. I think it would be brilliant. As far as Lois Lane, you could cast Lois Lane. I don't know who you would cast as Lois Lane, but you need someone who's like obviously beautiful, smart, and is just tough, right? Just doesn't take any bullshit. You gotta have that toughness to Lois Lane, Yeah, she's beautiful. Yeah, she's smart. But you also have to have that, you know, that toughness to her, that that you can't just, that they cannot just look away from. But also, play that, damsel in distress type shit. Like, oh, Superman, help me. And it would be cool to have like a John Williams esque theme for Superman. I'm not sure I would use the John Williams theme Superman for this. I would use a different theme. I would use sort of a nice little homage, but a nice little throwback, but its own theme for this type of Superman film. And I think it would be brilliant. I really do, man. And I hope Warner Brothers, does something like this. Like, take chances. Like, don't be like Marvel, because Marvel's stuck in a cinematic universe. But DC is not stuck in that same universe. They're not stuck or they're not beholden to do a cinematic universe. They're free to do a cinematic universe, but also free to do their own stuff. And I think, why not? Why not do your own stuff? Why not be different? And why not have the freedom to do your own Superman film set in the 1930s and 1940s? That'd be dope. That'd be fucking dope as shit. I'm telling you, man. Like, I think it would be a beautiful movie, and it will satisfy Superman fans. I really do. I will be satisfied if you do it correctly. It doesn't have to be overly. It doesn't have to be like overly dark. It doesn't have to be overly sentimental. It could have a nice balance to it, and I think it will please everyone. Except if you're a fucking Zack Snyder cultist, and you probably hate this shit. But again, we're not focusing on you. No one is. We're focusing on Superman fans who love the character, and the filmmakers and the writers who love the character of Superman, showing homage and showing respect to the character. I think that's what we need right now, just showing love to Superman, because we all love Superman, but Warner Brothers for some reason doesn't. I don't know what's going on. It's like, no, Superman is the first and is the greatest superhero of all time, so we should treat him with the respect that he deserves. Superman is the best superhero of all time. Period. 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 No other. Superman is the first and Superman is the best. And right now, Brandon Routh would be a perfect choice for Superman for this kind of film. So, those are my thoughts. You know what to do. Hit like, subscribe, leave your comments down below. Let me know what you think, and let me know if you agree with this type of film, or let me know if you just want to see just a regular modern take on Superman with Brandon Routh, or you would love to see my version, my idea of Superman. But, those are my thoughts. I hope y'all have a great day. Hope y'all stay safe. Don't get that Rona. Be careful out there, and I'll see you later, guys, with another video.